Rise and Shine Rhonda. It's Tuesday, the 9th of December.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rhonda.
Think beauty salons are the end-all be-all of hair care in Rwanda? Well, think again. We look into the world of barbershops.
Money, 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 money. We explain the Rwanda Stock Exchange.
And a Christmas play to remember, plus the winner of our final Turkish Delight competition.
Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning, and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Ishesha.
And me, Makeda Mahario. Over the next hour, we'll be bringing you all the latest news, sports, and lifestyle headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And the Rise and Shine team are here with us in studio. It is Tuesday. The Monday blues are over. What do you have in the world of business?
Well, in the spirit of making money, I'm going to explain to you how the Rwanda Stock Exchange works. I'm sure most people have heard about it. They don't know how it works. Well, I'm going to teach you how it works today.
Money!
Definitely looking forward to that. Arnold, what do we have in the world of sports?
Two comebacks, one Liverpool Basel, it's the final day of the Champions League, and then Tiger Woods is back, but is he still a Tiger? Without.
Yeah, you better be worried for your Liverpool team there. All right, Alan.
Well, speaking of spirit, I'm already in the Christmas spirit, so just this weekend I went to check out a Christmas play, and yeah, you'll check it out later.
Okay.
Aren't we all? Okay, all that and more is still to come, but first, Rise and Shine, story of the day.
Long thought to be a women thing, taking care of your looks is just as much a men thing these days. And of course, a fresh look starts with a haircut. Enter barbershops, the favorite gathering spot for men after bars. In Rwanda, barbershops mean much more than just your average haircut. It's a culture. I went to find out. It's one of the moments I look forward to the most on a weekly basis. I call it getting my fresh on. I come here at this barbershop salon to get what's commonly known as a one-blade haircut. It just feels right. Long known as a women thing in Rwanda, getting a frequent haircut has become just as much a men thing.
Salon de coiffure, yani imekuja kugeuza vitu. Tunakumbuka zamani ya kale walikuwa wanatunyoa na wembe, wapiga mkasi. Haki kwa hivi unakuja hakuna tatizo, ni mashine yani yako ile ya zamani mkasi, unakuwa na mavitu maperopere. Ile salon de coiffure kwa imekuja iko vizuri sana.
In Rwanda, barbershops are not only the gossip chit-chat spot they are worldwide. Your barber is also your BFF and your confidant. He knows everything about you. I mean, who better to trust than someone who has complete control over your look, right?
Yani msalon de coiffure kwa ambiance mingi sana. Yani ukija huko na matatizo kama umechanganyikiwa kidogo au kuna matatizo ya kazi, ukiingia msalon de coiffure kani kuna kunyoa, kuongesha vizuri, suivant na kisi umekuja. Akina jua kutoka umefurahi, hata wewe umeviona, tukaona mablage, tunaongea na wateja vizuri. Tu mtu anafurahi sana.
And the goodies don't end there. Right after getting your haircut, a lady who specializes in washing hair makes sure you leave the barbershop feeling completely fresh. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Rwandan unique approach to the barbershop culture. And that's when the fun starts. From the latest music video to the hottest movie out or your usual football chat, the barbershop experience in Kigali lasts long after the haircut. This is my favorite spot in the entire city. This is where I come to get my fresh on. And clearly, I love this place because I come here, we talk about music, we talk about sports. I memean, you've heard what they say about barbershops, right? It is the best gathering place you can ever find. I mean, this is where everybody comes to have fun.
Sugar Ray Robinson, the greatest fighter ever lived. Oh, come on, man. What about Joe Louis?
The Brown Bomber. Now, that was a great boxer.
You damn right.
I suppose nobody in here ever heard of Cassius Clay.
We got a point. Clay ain't bad. I'm just saying I stopped liking Cassius Clay once he changed his name to Muhammad Ali. His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Ndio unasema sasa Messi ndio Jerome alikuforesha.
Tangu
Huyu timu anakuambia fenomeno.
nakwambia na ni kama na mimi nikwambie Zidane.
Pale si tuweza sikilizana. Pale tunaweza sikilizana. Lakini usinyambia sasa Pele.
Sio nakwambia mimi sikumuonana. Watu wenyewe walimuonana. Wanakuambia kama alikuwa extraordinaire.
Zidane haiko joueur extraordinaire.
Zidane ile wakati Zidane alikuwa vitu vingine.
Sio unasema. Mungu ajikontredire hivi.
Nasema alors que na mimi niona kisa anacheza.
Mais ukumbuke kitu moja, Pele na Ronaldo fenomeno walikuwa avant centre. Bakia bojua yaze biko besoin kaumbi bafike au miguu. Alors que joueur sa Zidane. Ba joueur sa Zidane ba Maradona. Balikuwa daka kaumbu mu centre à terrain. Des fois même baradia nyuma, banaenda daka kaumbu ku ba récupérateur, banapanisha ballon. Mpaka mbele banaipatia ba Ronaldo, banaipatia ba joueur sa ba Pele. Comment unaweza comparer attaquant avant centre na joueur mwenye alikuwa kabata kaumba na ibulula depuis kula na ibea mpaka mbele? Unaweza comparer? There's a barbershop in Kigali every 100 meters. So when it comes to investment, you know this is one that will last. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
That looks like a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's a heaven for any man that I know that's into sports, music, entertainment in general.
Man, do you guys gossip sometimes? Don't lie. Don't lie.
Let's just move on to the next thing. What I did is we actually took to the streets to see how the people of Kigali feel about this barbershop culture. Take a look.
Mu byumweru bitatu umwuga wacu uragenda neza kabisa nta kibazo bakiriya baraza mbona nta kibazo kabisa. Salon de coiffure hapa Muranda mimi naona iko inaendelea vizuri kwa sababu wateja tuko tunawapata kama kawaida, naona hakuna shida kabisa.
Ndamesa wano abagabo mu mutwe niko akazi nshinzwe gukora kandi karafasha cyane abagabo baza bihuta bafite naho baja cyangwa mu kazi, ariko iyo bageze muri salon bakabakira bakabogosha natwe tukabakira tukabamesera mu mutwe vuba ukabona akazi kabo kagenda neza kandi baragikunda bakanabyitabira cyane.
Bimaze gutera imbere cyane, ndabona abantu benshi basigaye babyitabira cyane.
Iyo wabahaye serivisi nziza uyu munsi ejo baragaruka bakomeza bakabyitabira ukabona byagenze neza.
Hata wasichana wengi walishaingia ndani kwa kujifunza hiyo kazi ya kukosha wanaume mkichwa, na kwa sababu ya usafi nayo unakutana kuja alishachafuka kwa kichwa na ile mamvuvu ziko mingi, wanafika wanamkosha mara moja, na inatusaidia zaidi kwa sababu wanafika wanakwenda hata kwa kazi bila kurudi nyumbani bila kukoga kwa sababu walishamkosha mkichwa vizuri.
Okay, and we have the Rise and Shine men here in the studio with us now. Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
A lot of testosterone going on here.
A lot of manly men happening. So tell me, what I was thinking when I was watching that was looking at the hair washing ladies.
Right.
I'm like, these girls must be getting marriage proposals left and right, because I know that's the favorite part of so many guys' experience at the barbershop. They're always talking about the head massage and, you know, the light stroking. What's your guys' favorite part?
I mean, it is my favorite part, and I gotta say, I'm a good tipper. I always tip every time because it's my favorite part.
It's worth it, right?
It's totally worth it. In fact, I wouldn't even leave without getting my hair washed. It's part of the procedure.
Okay.
Arnold, how has the barbershop experience been for you? You've lived all over the place. I mean, you've lived in Africa. You've seen how other cultures approach the barbershop culture. What has been your experience so far?
I think it's the connection you make with women. We are very loyal to our barbers. You know, you usually have this one guy. If he is not at the barber shop, you're not going to cut your hair that day. If the barber is not there, the one who always cuts your hair, you're not going to pick it.
I never understood that. Why?
I'll make it simple. It's very easy. I've had the same barber since 1994.
Lord have mercy.
And he's been moving from barbershop to barbershop, but I still follow him wherever he goes. Why? Because he knows your head perfectly, because we don't have the same head sizes, obviously. And then he knows exactly how you like your cut to be. Mine is one blade, another one, what they call number one, right? Another one might want a number two.
Oh, wow.
You may want a mohawk tomorrow. I don't know.
You have have like a PhD in cutting hair. You cut your own hair.
It's what I do.
But the thing is, you know what? These guys are professionals,
Right,
right?
right.
So why do people think that they have to continuously go back to the same person?
It's
They
loyalty.
know what they're doing.
Loyalty.
Even the conversation you have with this guy,
Right.
usually when you get this one barber and you connect and you talk about soccer all the time, or he's going to ask you, what happened in the Premier League. He's going to tell.
I say it in the video. I mean, it's clear. What
You
Arnold
just
is
bond
saying-
with anyone that you can talk sports with.
I say it in the video, you become BFFs. And the thing is, he knows everything about you. And I say, obviously, if this man is responsible of your look, who else to trust, right? You want to trust him.
So what if one day, he's cutting your hair, you're at your favorite barber, and I don't know, he sneezes or something, and you have a huge chunk out of your hair. Would you continuously
Yes.
go?
That's an accident. That can happen.
Yeah.
But we're very
We are very
loyal.
loyal.
See,
We are
this
very
is what
loyal.
we
Very
do.
loyal.
But the thing is, you have to remember, I mean, we don't just go there for the barbershop in itself.
Right.
It's a culture. Like you saw in Coming to America, that's the place where people go to talk about sports, to talk about
Right,
music,
right.
to talk about movies. And it's a great place to actually be able to chat and, be men. That's what we go to
And
bars
so,
for.
like for the working men, it's a great place to relax.
Exactly.
And also to get a lot of new ideas, because you meet different types of people. You meet a lawyer, you meet a salesman, so you tend to
I saw
get
one
a lot
of the
ideas
guys.
from the barbershop.
Sorry to cut you, but I saw one of the guys in the video saying that he's starting to get a bit less
Of course.
clientele.
Right.
Why do you think that is? Because what is the alternative? Growing your hair? Or?
Obviously, what's happening is there's a lot of barbershops in Kigali, in Rwanda in general, in Kigali in particular. I mean, there's so many of them. It's been going on now for a lot
But
of
there's
years.
such a huge market for it.
The market is huge, but like we say, we're very loyal. So if you open a new barbershop today, we're not gonna just go there because you open a new barbershop. I mean, we're gonna stay loyal to our guy. Unless our guy goes there, then you'll see Regis and you'll see Arnold and you'll see Alan. But it changes. It's tough. It's a tough business. You wanna invest in it because it's so popular. But at the same time, I mean,
There's no
loyalty is loyalty,
guarantee.
absolutely.
Right. Oh my gosh. I did not know that this was such a complicated world.
It's
I
huge.
thought that it was the ladies who went this crazy about the salons, but
men are loyal.
apparently you people are all loyal too. Okay. Well, as you all know, we have been doing a Turkish Delight competition for the past couple of weeks, and today marks the last day of giving away free tickets to Turkey. So, our last and final winner is Nadej Nkusi, who sent us a picture watching the show with a thumbs up. Thank you so much, Nadej. You win 2 tickets courtesy of Turkish Airlines to anywhere in Turkey. Girl, you better enjoy.
Congratulations, Nadej. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Messi?
Hey kid.
Kobe Bryant?
Would you like to have some ice cream, young man?
Ice cream?
The best fly with Europe's best airline, Turkish Airlines.
Welcome back, and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's get to today's business, or as I call it, the money. Fidelis Karangwa has the details.
Three business stories making headlines today. Farmers and the cooperatives will soon start trading their produce through the East African Exchange following the skills they acquired during a 2-day training program last week. Over 5,000 small-scale maize and bean farmers from cooperatives in Kayonza and Wemagane districts were trained in the operations of the commodities market as part of efforts aimed at enhancing their capacity and participation on the exchange. This will enable farmers to sell at a better price on the East African Exchange and improve their livelihoods in the long run. The Development Bank of Rwanda is working towards addressing issues that affect the recovery of student loans. The bank recently took over the Higher Education Students Loan Scheme for the Rwanda Education Board, and officials said there is a need to get students and the general public to understand that the funding is not a form of loan and it has to be paid back with interest. Reports show that the government is struggling to recover over 70 billion Rwandan francs lent out to students through the Students Financing Agency in 1990s. And the Rwanda agricultural sector is set up for a major boost from the United Kingdom, which invested over $53 million into various agricultural projects. The deal, which was signed by the Finance and Economic Development Minister, is a 4-year agreement in form of a grant that will mainly support the third phase of the agriculture transformation. It is also expected to contribute to the impact of achieving sustainable economic growth and poverty reduction. Now, we've all heard of the Rwanda Stock Exchange before, and for many, they all know it as just shares and a couple of numbers. Well, I went to find out how it works and get explanations to all those complicated terms. Let's check it out. The Rwanda Stock Exchange is a marketplace where shares, bonds, and other securities are bought and sold. Since its start in January 2011, they have been able to work with over 5 companies that are in Rwanda and the rest of the region. From Balirwa to Chumi supermarkets, all these companies need to borrow money from the public, and they do so in form of bonds and shares. So what are these items?
When you buy shares in a company through an IPO, that is an initial public offer when a company goes to the public for the first time to raise funds. So you are buying shares in the company. It means that you are belonging to that company. So investors out there, they buy shares from the companies. And the companies issues the shares to the public. So now you are a shareholder. When they call for an annual general meeting of the company, you are called. When the company makes money and they distribute a dividend, that is income for you. After 1 year, you get a dividend. That is shares. But the company can decide also not to call for people who buy shares. The company decides now to raise funds by way of getting debt. So now they issue bonds. Bonds, basically, it's a contract between you and the company for a specific period of time. Say, for example, actually I&M, BCR Bank, they have a bond here listed. International Finance Corporation, they have a bond listed for 5 years. BCR Bank came to the market to borrow money from the public. So in that case, you are not belonging to BCR. You are not a shareholder. You are just a lender like any other lender. So they give you interest every year, specific. You agree on a kind of interest. Now, today, like government bonds are paying 11.4% for 3 years. For 5 years, they are paying 11.8%. If a 7-year bond, which is coming actually in the next 2 weeks here in Rwanda, government is issuing a 7-year bond, which is going to pay probably slightly higher than 12% probably, because the the longer the maturity, the longer you are going to be paying in terms of interest. So when you are lending money to a company, you have bought a bond.
With the fast growth in the ICT sector in Rwanda, it has often been wondered why the Rwanda Stock Exchange has not yet been automated. Well, Mr. Celestin explains.
Well, we still work on whiteboard, first of all, for 2 reasons. The first one, when you are creating a market, this market is intangible enough. When you talk to Eregro Mwananchi, like you like to say, they know cows, they know, shamba, they know the house. They can touch it, but shares are intangible enough. So when you are starting, normally, since you do not have many transactions taking place, you can afford to use a whiteboard because there is not a lot of transactions taking place. You need a physical place to look at. So people, when they see a physical place, they start being curious. So that's why we went by that way, because there was not enough business to justify even automating from the beginning. So it cost a lot of money to automate. However, we have good news. Today, Rwanda Stock Exchange and our operations are 50% automated, meaning that what matters the most is where you are stocking your shares you have bought. That part is fully automated. We have a central securities depository at the central bank, which is where your shares, when you buy them, they are kept in a safe place electronically. That one is electronic. That's why when you open an investment account, you open a central depository account, which is basically an account for shares and bonds. So that one is fully automated. So now, the only part remaining is the trading part, where you see those guys shouting at each other, like you've seen just now. That one is still a whiteboard. However, we have already concluded the negotiations we have a system here on our floor for automation. So it's a world-class technology which we are going to be using in the near future. All we are waiting for is interfacing with that, the bank of shares at the central bank. So we are working on interfaces between the Central Securities Depository for that to happen. So when that time comes, we announce that officially, that we have fully automated, and will be as automated as any market on this planet.
It is expected that in the near future, the Rwanda Stock Exchange will be more competitive, vibrant, and have even more Rwandan shareholders working with them. Good news, especially for businesses in the country. Karangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda. Now joining us now in studio is Bosco, a shareholder and participant on the Rwanda Stock Exchange. Welcome, Bosco, to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now, for starters, tell us, why was it important for you to become a shareholder in the Rwanda Stock Exchange?
Thank you, Fidelis. I think before I start to explain why we're there, let me just take a step back and explain what the Rwanda Social Security Board is and why we do participate in this kind of business. One, we receive contributions from all pensioners who anticipate going to pension in the future. And our role is to keep value for that contribution, And what we do is to do investments with that contribution so it keeps gaining value. That said, the stock exchange, or the Rwanda Stock Exchange, is the one avenue, the most sophisticated and the one that offers the high return to invest through. So we are both investors, we are shareholders in the stock exchange, and two, we also do have shareholding through all those companies that are listed, at least the Rwandan companies, that's Bank of Kigali and Bralirwa. The value is that as we invest our contributors' funds, we need to do this in a more transparent manner, and any company that's listed through the stock exchange, one, is fully checked by the capital markets, and also the Rwanda Stock Exchange ensures the governance. So as investors, we are safe to invest through the stock exchange. That's the basic reason why we are there and why we do promote that. And as a Social Security Board, we're also interested in developing the capital markets of this country. So that's why we went ahead to invest in the stock exchange and become shareholders.
So tell me, was it expensive for you? I know you're doing it as a company in general, but generally, is it an expensive procedure, or is it easy to buy shares and bonds from?
No, it's very easy. Well, we were institutional investors, but any other investor could also go through brokers, and it's a very easy process. You could even do it online. You can communicate online with the brokers, and they'll buy and sell shares for you, any amount of shares that you want to do. So it's not expensive in terms of money. Of course, since you're paying out money, then there's a cost, but that cost is not as heavy as investing in an unlisted company where you cannot actually establish the value. So yes, the cost is there, but the benefits are higher.
So for someone watching our show today, could you briefly just tell us maybe some of the benefits you've been able to enjoy that are realistic, and in how long you've been able to enjoy them as an investor?
The way we enjoy the benefits of the stock exchange through two ways. One is that we are able, if we wanted to float our shares, say in Bralirwa and Bank of Kigali, we're able to sell them easily. That's a benefit. I won't put value to that it costs this much or any monetary kind of value to it, but the value is in how easy it is for you to buy and sell. The easier you sell your shares, that's a benefit, because that's value for money. You don't lose time when you're selling your shares, including also buying. You can buy at that ongoing price. That's a benefit to us as investors. But also for anybody who's watching the show, I would want to encourage them to use the stock exchange, because that's a way you can invest in a company or sell, and also keep your equity or your stake in a company as near liquid as possible. That means you can sell it at any time you wish, and also buy at any time you may wish.
So lastly, our last question, as an investor, what would you say is the future? What are you hoping for from the Rwanda Stock Exchange in the future?
Well, from two sides. I want to answer this from two angles. One, as an institutional investor into the stock exchange itself as a business, but also as an investor in other companies. As I said before, our role is to safeguard value for our contributors' funds. So I expect the stock exchange to have more companies listed, and that will ease my work as an institutional investor on behalf of my contributors. That's one. And as an institution, since we are shareholders, then we make money. As a company, as the Rwanda Stock Exchange, we make money. And that's good for our company.
Thank you very much, Bosco, for your time.
Thank you very much, Grace.
Well, you're up to date with today's business headlines, sports news coming up next in just a minute with Arnold Quizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda Sports News. Now with me, Arnold Quizera. Starting with local football, AS Kigali needed a solitary goal to pip defending champions Police in this year's Ombudsman title. After both teams registered impressive wins in their semi-final games over APR and Rayon Sports respectively, fans were treated to a battle of tactics with both coaches going for the jugular. Striker Bodo Ndikumana's 13th minute strike all but sealed the victory for Eric Shimiimana's side. To golf, Tiger Woods continued to struggle with his drive on his return to competitive golf after a 6-month absence. The former world #1 playing in his own charity tournament was tied for the last place in a pool of 50 golfers with several missed bogey attempts and struggling at the second green. 21-year-old Jordan Spieth claimed his second tournament in as many weeks with a 10-shot victory. Day 6 of the Champions League is tonight and puts Liverpool in another do-or-die clash at Anfield. Having rested captain Steven Gerrard over the weekend, Anfield will need to buzz with inspiration if Liverpool are to bring back memories of the famous victory over Olympiacos in 2005. Victory for Liverpool against Basel will be enough to grant them passage into the round of 16 as runner-ups to the already qualified Real Madrid. In other fixtures, Arsenal entertained Belgian side Anderlecht, while Real Madrid host Ludogorets at the Bernabeu.
So let's talk first of all about Champions League, the UEFA Champions League. This is a huge night for Liverpool. What I'm thinking here is Steven Gerrard got rested last weekend. It caused a lot of hoopla in England, because a lot of people didn't understand why he got arrested. Yes, there was this game coming up that everybody is anxious about, and then there's the Manchester United game that's coming up over the weekend. So that's what everybody was thinking about. But do you think resting Steven Gerrard was a good move?
I think it was a great move. You saw Steven Gerrard's best performance this season in Liverpool's 3-1 win the weekend before. It came after he had been rested, you know, in the earlier fixture against Stoke City, where, again, fans complained a lot. But he is at that age. He's 33 years old. He can't play week in, week out. And we're going into a very busy December period.
So you're more on Brendan Rodgers' side than you are on the fans' side?
Yeah, I think because if at the end of the day, the 11 players who are put out there, they were supposed to do the job over the weekend. The 11 players put out against Sunderland, you know, they were good enough, but they looked uninspired themselves. Steven Gerrard is the man for Liverpool when it comes to these nights. Right. He led the famous night at Istanbul, the return, the 2005 Champions League victory.
He has the experience.
He has the experience at this stage, at which many of these current Liverpool crop of players don't have. Many of them have not played in the Champions League before. You know, the likes of Coutinho, Adam Lallana, you know, apart from maybe Mario Balotelli, even Ricky Lambert, who's one of the older heads in the squad, hasn't played in the Champions League before. So I think it was a smart move to rest Steven Gerrard, despite him having to come on in the last 20 minutes. Sterling is starting to wear out for Liverpool. They need to rest the young player. I think the fatigue may catch up with him, which is not good for his career later on, as we saw with Michael Owen playing too many games at a very young age. By 25, 26, you're injury prone.
He was tired.
Yeah, so I think Raheem Sterling needed to be rested, but Liverpool can't afford that luxury yet. I think Liverpool will pick Basel to this one.
Now, before we move on to golf, what I want to know is, do you feel English Premier League teams, clubs, are playing too many games compared to other champions? Because you look at Barcelona, you look at Real Madrid, you look at Bayern Munich, they're in top tip form, they're doing great in their respective countries, and when it comes to the Champions League, they have the same form. So what's going on here? Is it England that's playing too many games?
I think it's when you look at it both ways. When you look at it from a fan's perspective, it's great for the fans. We enjoy the December period.
Right.
You know, what's a Boxing Day without the Premier League football? What's a Boxing Day without football? You know, we are used to sitting on our couch at home on Boxing Day, opening those presents, and you are watching the Premier League. But when you look at it from the player's side, it's very tiresome. You know, they play a lot of games. Squads tend to be very thin, and this is the do or die break for the English Premier League. That's why I think English teams tend to struggle after January in the Champions League, because they play a lot of football now. In the German Bundesliga, they have the winter break. You know, the Spanish La Liga also goes on a break for the Christmas period, meaning players come back fresher. And the English Premier League, they play about 4 or 5 fixtures. Then they have the FA Cup coming up. So
they don't rest.
Yeah, so they don't rest.
All right. I never thought I'd ever see the day when I read a hashtag saying, "Is Tiger Woods back?" I mean, when did he ever leave to begin with?
Tiger Woods has been struggling with spasms and different kinds of injuries over the years. His knees have baffled a lot. Age is catching up with him, I think. I don't think Tiger Woods will ever surpass Jack Nicklaus's record, you know, of 18 majors, him being at 14 right now, because he needs to win 4 majors. And you feel he is very far back, the leading crop of international players. He's nowhere near the top 50 players in the world. You know, when you look at the likes of Justin Rose, you look
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy, who's the face of golf at the moment. I look at the likes of Luke Donald, Eric Watson. Tiger Woods is past his great.
Now, educate me and whoever else is watching us from home. This is a sport that doesn't really use a lot of physical strength. So when you say he's having back spasms and he's having knee injuries, explain it to people who don't understand how this happens to basketball players and tennis players and football players, but also golf players.
I think, actually, on the contrary, professional golf requires a lot of energy because these people have to work out a lot.
Right.
Mentally is one part, but then when you're taking the tees, you're supposed to bend in a certain position, so his knees can't hold up any longer, and then he can't work out as much as he used to.
I thought Jack Nicklaus was doing pretty great at 50, 60. Yeah. He was doing great. Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much, Arnold. That was great. Regis. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Makena and I will be right back. Welcome back, and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at news making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
The National Commission for the Fight Against Genocide intends on making changes in the law terminating gacaca courts. This comes after reports showed that a number of genocide convicts have appealed in conventional courts and some have been set free without the victims' knowledge. Officials said that there are ongoing discussions between legislators to determine the sections of the law that should be amended. The gacaca justice system officially closed in 2012 after trying more than 1.9 million suspects in 10 years.
Prices of Irish potatoes are set to stabilize following an agreement between farmers and the city of Kigali traders to establish a mutually beneficial cooperation. The contract signed by farmers' cooperatives and dealers from various districts is expected to set stable and fair prices for the two parties. Currently, the farm prices of the potatoes are between 55 and 70 francs per kilogram, which farmers say leaves them with losses compared to the cost of production. The new prices are expected to take effect this week, starting from Nyalihu district.
And in regional news, the Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly, Margaret Ziwa, has officially been suspended by the East African Community Council. In a letter addressed to her lawyers, the EAC Attorney General stated that the due process for her suspension has been followed. The Speaker was told to vacate the office to allow for investigations into the allegations brought against her. Ziwa had earlier said that she would not resign unless advised by the EAC Council.
The President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Joseph Kabila, announced the formation of a new government in a move said to be aimed at broadening his political base. The move brought in members of two opposition parties, Thomas Lwaka and his ally Evariste Boshab, who had pushed for a constitutional amendment to allow the president to run for a third term. Kabila had been warned by Western governments against any attempt to change the constitution before the 2016 elections to stay in office beyond the end of his two-term mandate. It's time for newspapers. Sonny Nhayombia from the New Times joins us now to take us through some of the front pages. All right, Sonny, what's happening is this week we're having Legal Aid Week in Rwanda.
Yes, that is true.
But does everybody understand what they're entitled to? And if yes, do certain things have to be changed?
Well, there's a couple of issues that we have to talk about. Yes, there's a Legal Aid Week, and yes, it's probably doing a lot of great stuff. There are a lot of Banyarwanda who are getting lawyers and having lawyers represent their interests in court, and very often you find it's quite a successful process. But we have to ask ourselves, okay, first of all, it's just a week. And two, even if it was longer, how many lawyers do we have in this country? We have barely 600 lawyers, okay, on the bar. And the vast majority of them are in Kigali. So looking further on, past the Legal Aid Week, are people, say, in Musanze or Rubavu, or the villages of those areas, are they going to actually have legal representation? Secondly, we have an issue in Rwanda where you find that someone who is either in court for murder, rape, treason, terrorism, they can or cannot have legal representation. Yes, the Constitution allows for legal representation, but it's not a must. For example, in Uganda, no matter your level of income, if you are in court for a capital offense, e.g. one that can either give you life or the death sentence, you must have a lawyer. You
can't defend yourself.
You cannot defend yourself. So the question is, yes, we have Legal Aid Week, yes, we have a challenge of lawyers, but yes, perhaps we should also maybe change the Constitution and make sure that those people who are not able to afford lawyers and they are in capital offense cases or life sentences, they should be guaranteed legal representation. That's just my opinion, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of lawyers who kind of agree with me.
You think that's going to be discussed this week?
I certainly hope so. If not, perhaps Rwandans can talk to their members of parliament and get that law changed.
Right. So this year marks the 66th anniversary of the UN Genocide Convention. What does that mean for us here in Rwanda?
Well, that's a huge deal for us in Rwanda, especially looking at our history. This year's theme is kind of like looking really at the issues of revisionism and genocide denial. If we look at just what's going on, if we just look at various forms of the media, if we just look at the BBC documentary just the other day, a lot of observers and me myself are seeing they're trying to change history. They're trying to say, well, did this really happen? Did this really happen? If it has been done in the Holocaust, there are a lot of scholars, quote-unquote scholars, who are saying, well, were the numbers really 6 million Jews? They're starting to change the numbers, and once you start changing numbers, then you take away from the impact.
That's how revisionism starts.
Yes,
basically.
that's the process. It's a process. They keep lowering the numbers, lowering the this and that, and you find that the powers, okay, of the numbers of the victims start, and that as we celebrate, the great law that came after the Second World War, we have to say that we need to really protect it, because there are people who will deny history for their own means, for their own ends.
Right.
All right. Now let's move on to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Joseph Kabila just changed the government once again, and he got in members of the opposition, members like Thomas Luhaka, Evariste Boshab, who were in the opposition, but at the same time, who were basically allies. They wanted him to stay in power after 2016 to change the amendments. I mean, how is it going? What do you think is happening here?
Well, it's very interesting. It's some kind of weird coalition government. You have members of Pierre Bemba's party. You have Kenga Wadongo's party, guys who have been fighting tooth and nail against the Kabila government. So you have to ask yourself, okay, am I a cynic? Am I thinking that people are deciding that, okay, rather than fight for political power, let us share and have a good time. Congo is rich for all of us. Let's be all rich. Why fight? That's just me, and I'm being cynical. Other people are saying, well, it's a move to kind of get those opposition voices into the government and have them not talking so much about his quote-unquote move to change the constitution to allow him to run for another term in 2016. However, I feel like that's a bit too simplistic. As any Congo observer knows, there are a couple of issues that we have to look at. First of all, there's the local government elections that have to take place before the presidential elections.
And they're not very organized.
And then let's be honest, all right? And having a thing like that in a country the size of Western Europe, with no roads, with no training, there are actually probably no laws putting in place all those things. It will take at least 2 years, if not 3. Throw in the fact that there has to be a census. Congo has not had a census since 1984.
Which is when Mobutu Sese Seko was still in power.
Exactly. So all of a sudden, how are they going to have a proper poll, a proper election, without knowing how many voters are there? Where are the voters? So if he's smart, he doesn't even need to change the constitution. All he has to say is, well, I really want to leave, but I cannot leave without these steps in place, because I would leave some kind of
mess behind me,
like some kind of vacuum. So all he has to say is, let us first finish this. Let us not change the constitution. I will leave when it's time. And I can bet you, in 2020, we might see Joseph Kabila still waiting for the census to take place.
Now, this is a country that was run by one dictator for 32 years. Do you believe this one might stay in power?
Quickly before we have to wrap up.
Well, the way I look at it, why he's not going to change a winning subject. He's not going to change a winning team.
Formula.
Everyone is happy. He's going to get the opposition. He's going to get the members of the clergy. He's going to give all of them money, and everyone will eat, and everyone will be happy.
Something to definitely watch.
Very much, Sonny.
All right, Lifestyle is coming up next, but don't go anywhere. We also have Hot Topics. Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. A little bit of lifestyle now. Alan, what do you have for us today?
Well, like I said earlier, it's the Christmas spirit that I'm feeling right now, so I want to share some of that Christmas spirit by going to a Christmas play. So
it's going to be so cute. I can't wait.
With Christmas holidays just around the corner, some schools are already beginning to celebrate their festive season. Over the weekend, one school organized a sold-out Christmas play, which I attended with many parents, friends, and students also attending. Being a theater lover myself, I thought I'd check it out. Let's have a look.
To kick off the festive season, Kigali International Community School showcased a theater play entitled A Christmas Carol. The dessert theater play was sold out quickly, with many parents, family members, and friends attending the two-day show in large numbers. I caught up with some of the young thespians after the show to find out what the experience was like to perform live on stage.
Yes, it was my first time acting in a play, like an actual play. Her name is Mrs. Dilber, and she is an Irish maid for the bitter and awful Mr. Scrooge. She doesn't like her job, and she does as much as she can to provide for her family.
Although a lot of the students hadn't been in plays before, one of the actors who played the main character said that he's even considering pursuing an acting career after he graduates.
I've been thinking about it lately, actually, yeah, because I'm in grade 12, so a lot of people have been asking me, like, all right, what are you going to do in college? So it's kind of like, what am I going to do in college? So I've been thinking about it. I'll definitely want to keep on acting.
The theater director also says the experience was quite new for most students. However, the students worked very hard, and for the most part, it was a chance for them to come out of their shell.
It's just tremendous. I think theater is kind of like nothing else. You become a family, and you get to kind of come out of yourself and try new things that maybe you think you could never do. So we had a lot of kids this time especially who had never done theater before, so this was their first time experience. And everybody just seemed to really enjoy it. They had a lot of fun. They really interacted well with each other. It's tremendous.
With the holidays almost here, I had to ask what the students were most looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to family, spending time with family during the Christmas season.
So whether it's Christmas carols or Christmas plays, 'tis the season to be jolly. Alan Karakire, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
All right. Really adorable play there. Let me ask you, someone that, you know, was an actor himself, you said that you studied theater and stuff like that. How did the kids do?
They did very well. I was actually very impressed, especially being that the teacher said that a lot of them was their first time actually being part of a play. I was quite impressed. And the thing is, it actually reminded me of my childhood too. I don't know if you did plays when you were young.
Did you? Definitely. I definitely did.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to Christmas. Like I remember when I was a kid, I played one of the shepherds. What did you play one of a Christmas
Oh, what
play?
do I remember? I think I played in a Christmas production, I will call it, every year. But I always had different. I don't remember, man. I have such bad memory about that time.
Did you enjoy it though? I love it. Like
I mean, it looks really, really cute. I wish I could have seen something like that. Do you know if any other schools are going to be doing any Christmas plays? Because this does seem like...
No, definitely. In fact, that's something I'm looking into right now, because as part of the whole Christmas thing, I'm trying to bring you as many Christmas events as possible. So stay tuned and I'll make sure I get you one too.
Okay, definitely looking forward to that.
Yes. All right. So stay tuned. Hot Topics is coming up right next. Welcome back. It's that Hot Topics time again. As always, you can join in on the debates right here through our social media, whether it's on Facebook or on Twitter. Let's get into our first hot topic, guys. So 21-year-old Idris Sultan from Tanzania emerged as the winner of the 9th edition of the Big Brother Africa Hot Shots. Now, he won $300,000 after 63 days in the house. What do you guys think? Were you guys rooting for him?
Of course, Lord.
Look at close eyes.
Why are you like that? I'm remembering the moment. Give me an hour. I'm remembering that moment. You know, that moment where they show his bank account and like, Lord, it was just nice.
Was he rich?
Well,
$300,000
rich.
Yeah. But that must have taxes on it, right? I feel like there's something.
I mean, maybe in Tanzania
even after
there's
taxes, with that kind of money, I wouldn't mind. No, personally, I'm very happy for him. He deserved it. He did a great job.
Oh, you're happy for him.
I am. And East Africa, hey, we have to support our people.
Absolutely.
So Tanzania, East Africa.
Nigeria.
Okay. Tanzania people.
Yeah,
my gosh.
From
So
Tanzania. Actually, one of the things you just mentioned was that the biggest supporters, the biggest votes he got were mostly from East Africa. Includes Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, but also Namibia was a big supporter.
We know how to pull for our own.
Of course. Hey, I mean, if our own Rwandans can't win, why not support the East African?
Exactly.
So, all right, on to the next hot topic. Now, this one is an interesting one. So, according to a new Kenyan research done by animal psychologists, it shows that pregnant wild animals, especially apes like gorillas, have continued to express displeasure with the state of affairs and in Kenya. So they migrate to other countries in East Africa like Uganda and Rwanda, even as far as Congo.
What do you mean the state of affairs?
Meaning
confused.
like, for example, the instability. No,
hold on a second.
The instability in what?
In Kenya, in Nairobi, and all these places.
Gorillas were only in Congo, Rwanda.
No, as
Uganda.
Mountain gorillas.
Right.
Are only in
Oh, there are other.
The silverback
okay,
right.
Yeah.
So according to this research, it says that basically some animals are so intelligent that whenever they feel like, maybe this is not a safe place for my baby, they'll migrate. So gorillas are some of those animals that actually migrate when they're pregnant.
So you're talking terrorism here, because
as in terrorism, even
natural disasters, because studies after the tsunami that happened showed that a lot of animals migrated from the coast when the tsunami was going to take place, like 2 months prior to the tsunami, which shows this.
They can tell.
They can tell.
Yeah. Apparently, according to this research, they're actually more intelligent than we are because they sense things way before
well,
we do.
them gorillas can come to Rwanda, no problem. We love them, so welcome to Rwanda.
We can use the money.
Right? All right. So the next hot topic, this one is a cute one. Again, it's from Kenya. It's about this two set of twins that just got recently married, just last week. It's Lynette and Maureen Kimetu, who married Zacchaeus and William Kavoy.
Like, what are the chances of that? Come
Now,
on.
I just have to tell you guys a bit about the story. They met in the beginning of this year, and in fact, the crazy part is that apparently when they saw each other, the two twins, when they saw each other, it was love at first sight.
Did they know who they were loving?
Yeah.
I mean, apparently
how does that work?
That's the crazy part. So both of them, the older twins, both fell in love with the other older twin.
Oh,
and what's crazy is that both of them, when they were younger, had always dreamed of marrying twins so that they could both stay together as brothers and as sisters, and that the bond would stay together.
It's funny, that picture felt like it was the same picture split in two.
Right?
The same people, like two twice.
There's actually a Rwandan set of twins, two set of twins that actually got married here as well. It was huge. Like, it was all over social media.
Where am I when you guys found out about all these things?
I have the news.
You know what I'm wondering
So
though?
it was
Like
really
the kids,
nice.
when the kids are born, like how are they gonna tell who's mommy and daddy, who's uncle and auntie?
I think
my
you can
mom was
always
a twin,
tell.
and it ain't that easy. I can tell you right now.
All right, well, don't forget we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us your ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the action and all the shows and the reports we do. Find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW, we'd love to see your pics. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today's show. We love to hear your feedback, so do let us know if you have any ideas for the program. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahario.
And me, Regis Isheja, will be here, same time, same place tomorrow. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us, from all these beautiful people here, and for the rest of the Rise and Shine Rwanda team, have a great day. Bye-bye.